Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming, and welcome back to more Wilds and Title Update 2. With this we finally have, hey, a layered weapon. Loads of little new stuff like new talisman upgrades, increased relic rewards, a pile of quality of life, and unexpected details. So in this video, I'm going to try cover basically everything that you might not have realized, and we're just going to blast through it, so let's get into it. Let's start with a pretty important one, which is the new upgrades to the talismans. Of my knowledge right now, there's 4 new upgrades with the new monsters. So we go to our upgrade list, you can see them. So firstly, we have Friendship Charm level 5 now, which is all levels of wide range. If you're willing to use some pretty expensive lagiacrus parts for some reason, not a massive fan of that, but hey, 5 levels of wide range, maybe you care. A bit more relevant then will be something like the Counterattack Charm for levels of Adrenaline Rush. This requires seregios parts and can get you to level 3 on 1 talisman. Next we have the Heroics Charm, the Grit Charm 4 now, so that's 4 levels of Heroics if it's something you're willing to dare to dabble in. And yes, this also comes from seregios parts. Lastly, we have the Imbibe Charm for a 2nd level of Elemental Absorption. The element train is really beginning now with Title Update 2, but it will require some lagiacrus parts. Here's some fantastic news that they didn't put in the patch notes, at least not that I could find. It's the increased relic rewards. So if you have a monster and a second monster, aka a great hunt, you might just find increased rewards. It would have been really convenient if I just pulled that up there, wouldn't it? Sadly, it wasn't meant to be. Basically, you've got all of the different 8-star monsters, like the new Tempered Seregios here. And we know that they could have 2 relic rewards, in that box. Well, as it turns out, they've now increased this potential. As you can see, if you do have a great hunt with a tempered monster that's 8-star, and then any other second monster it would sim, there's that potential for that double box to instead be a triple. So maybe all of those boxes there could potentially be 3 relic rewards each, which would be absolutely colossal. And it's really nice that they've given us some way to reward great hunts as harder hunts in general. I did wonder whether it would require 2 tempered 8 stars for that to work, but in this case, it wasn't. So be on the lookout for that. Speaking of investigations in general, a little quality of life has been added to managing your investigations. Instead of having to go to like the details of a hunt and then choosing from a list and then deleting the investigation, there's now a specific keybind. So on a PlayStation controller, I can just press like the play button in the middle and then it instantly brings me up to that delete selected investigation. Very handy, makes this a lot quicker. Still, we're stuck to 50 saved investigations. I don't know why it's not 100, 500, but at least it's something. Something I'm seeing through the socials right now is an acknowledgement of some unknown weapons in the weapon tree. Example of that would be longsword. So as we pop down to the bottom here, we have the new seregios, we have lagiacrus, and we have whatever the hell this is. Is this a secret 3rd monster that's in Title Update 2? Is Arch-Tempered Duna actually going to get weapons? Well, probably not. People have got a lot of different theories, but ours is that it's probably related to the event quest weapons that they teased in the upcoming content stuff. So for a longsword here, it's very likely the pickaxe longsword that's coming. There's say the SNS Ore one and so on. We've seen like the cat jewel blades. So we're not expecting a 3rd monster based on that, though I wouldn't say no. As a little note, there is a new insect glaive though, the Kunafa insect glaive, requiring some seregios parts. For whatever reason, you can get their insect glaive. And if you like the vibe, which is pretty bare bones, that exists now. Okay, so let's talk about layered weapons, because the system is very simple, much simpler than I expected. Say back in World and Iceborne, you had a lot of complicated processes to go through to get layered weapons. And say you look back at Rise, it wasn't until Sunbreak that we got that. So here we are in base Wilds with all of the layered systems in place and very forgiving. But the subtle change here is the organization of the appearance menu. Previously, you had to go down this list to get to equipment appearance. They put it straight at the top now, which is a lot more convenient. The amount of times I press change appearance because it's at the top, uncountable. Anyway, so now we have this. You've got the layered equipment for the weapons and you just pick what you want. And it's quite literally as simple as that. All you need to do is actually have crafted the rarity 8 version of each weapon. If there's any other versions of it below that, you can actually get the different versions of that too. Probably the most obvious version of this is the Deshagama Greatsword here, which, you know, in the alpha rarity 8 version has this orangey purple hue, but it's very different if you go to the lower rarities. So you do have access to both versions of it, but again, you need to have crafted the rarity 8 version, the highest, before you have access to the layered whatever. Meanwhile, to get the layered version of palico weapons, all you have to do is craft a high rank version of any of the weapons, and that's it. You can do the layering for them. So thankfully, very simple. Here's some extra notes that will be around the hub, which are useful to know. The provision stockpile has a new feature you might be aware of now, exchange for limited items. This gives us a way to use those tickets from the different events. So Blossom Dance, the spring event, that's long gone now and won't be back until next year. So I've got these 13 tickets that are basically worthless. Adding this allows me to get some extra barrel bombs basically for free with a dead resource until next year. And each ticket gives me 4 of them, so I can get some of those themed bombs even now. And then for the upcoming Flame Fate version, the beach barrel bombs, they're ready too. I do wonder if they'll do more with this feature in the future, but nice to have. Alright, 2 absolutely fantastic features you gotta be grateful for. Firstly, Nata has finally had his update for the material retrieval. This is one of the most requested simple things that we've still not had until now, but basically, as you can see, there's a take all button. Instead of having to press through 5 different menus individually, I could just accept them all. The future is now, guys. Insane. But right behind Nata, you may also notice another new feature in Title Update 2, the little blue supplies box. And yet, it does what you'd expect it to do. We can transfer items and very quickly restock and replenish our gear without having to go through that awkward animation into the tent, letting it load in, and then getting there. You can also craft from here, sell items, customize your radial menu. Pretty cool. But did you know there's an even nicer extra feature of that to do with your pop-up camps? If you now go to edit a pop-up camp and we go to camp gear options, under the small options, you have a new option, which is indeed the same little blue supply box. And this works while you're out in the wild, not at a base camp. So I'd strongly recommend you slap these onto basically all of your pop-up camps. Very useful. While we're here, why don't we take a look at the limited bounties, which have actually been updated. So now we have more than just the original hunting ones and say the arena specific one. We also have fishing and endemic life specific ones. Particularly relevant as we jump in for the side quests of Title Update 2, as I'll mention. And while the rewards might not seem like absolutely insane initially, they are good. Like you've got wyvern coins for trading of higher quality resources potentially, and useful items like the sushi fish scale. As it states, it actually restores health and treats bleeding at the same time, which is going to be very relevant for seregios. Plus you can get cooking ingredients, the higher quality ones. Be aware that they actually buffed the standstill and crouch to cleanse bleed mechanic, so it's just got faster recovery time than it did before this update. But I'd still recommend you stock up on wild jerky to cure bleeding and also give yourself that natural healing back. But as a little note, apparently rations are helpful for that too, if you're in a pinch. Many people are going to be happy with the updates to photo mode. There's just basically more options and more control, which is cool. But in terms of character display, this entirely new tab, we can get rid of the handler, get rid of the palico, and completely manage all of the weird glowing effects and stuff that gets in the way of different pictures. So you now have much greater control over your photo mode, but this also works in general. There's new options in the game settings. On the 3rd page, you have different effects. The big ones here are going to be activate skill and item effects and equip talisman effects. These are basically the glowing effects on your character that a lot of people really dislike. So now you have control over that at long last. Those of you who have done the lagiacrus quest probably know that you now have Eric as a handler option, which is pretty neat. Obviously, it's a nice little bit of control that you can go through, and all you need to do to swap between them is speak with the current handler that's not your active one. So right now, to get Alma back, I need to go find Alma and speak with her. I will say this has been a little bit awkward because of muscle memory, because Alma's staying in her same position at base camps, which is of course right next to the tent. Sometimes I don't want to go into the tent and deal with stuff like the loading or whatever, and it's nice that we have this item box to quickly replenish that, and then also a handler right there to speak with and go on our quests. But since she's not currently my handler, I can't do that. So I do wonder, after some feedback, maybe Eric will swap places here when he's active. But as a fun little note, when Eric is your active handler, obviously you have the intro screen in the base camp and in your tent with Alma. But with Eric, he's showing up now when he's your active handler, with his own unique animations and vibe, obviously. Just a subtle thing, but yeah, pretty cool. Next, we have a new little quality of life feature to do with food skills and benefits from that. You can see that I've currently got a food buff going with 10 minutes left on it at the top left, and you can take a look at my status page on the right. You can see that I'm getting food buff benefits to say my resistances, the defenses, but it's also giving me health, stamina, and attack with that little icon letting me know. But now we can actually see a little bit more. If I go into my skill page info and go all the way to the end, you can see all the different buffs I'm getting thanks to the feast buff I have. So I have Lucky Meal, and I finally have a description of what that actually means and what it does. So if you've ever been wondering what these did and you never wanted to Google it or whatever, it's now finally there in game with a way for you to specifically take a look, which is very nice. As another fun little detail, there's a little update to the environment overview for the Grand Hub. As you can see, I now can see when the Diva's Voice of Prayer is going to begin next, and I can fast travel to it like that. And we can even look at like the current and future stuff. So we can see that the Diva's Song of Prayer is coming soon, right, as we just saw, and it even tells us which song and which order is going to occur. If more features get added to the hub, I imagine this will be a handy thing, but at very least, just seeing when the next Voice of Prayer is going to occur is useful. Alright, now let's talk about the two side options that exist that give you some new rewards, such as this jacket that I'm wearing in my current layered set. Gemma will have a new side quest. It's fashion hunting time. The reward for this quest is indeed the Gemma jacket, but also say the Caravaneer jacket. Anyway, what she wants you to do is craft specific pieces that you may never have crafted before. And as a heads up, there's the masculine and feminine version of each piece. So it might say, oh, you can make a Pyrrha, Gil, A, Alpha or Beta, it's no problem, but specifically I want it in the orange or feminine version. So if you craft the Beta masculine version, it's not going to count. It won't track on the quest objectives on the side. That's the little tell to know that you've done the right thing. Once you've crafted the correct masculine or feminine version of each piece, it'll fully highlight and then say, all right, now it's time to put it on. Then you can just use the layering menu to do that. And again, it'll all update when you're wearing the correct stuff, so hard to mess up. With this, you'll get a ridiculous cinematic that I strongly recommend you go do. Just enjoy it yourself. Very silly, but fun. But be aware that these are actual armor pieces that you can craft. They're not good, per se. 4 levels of constitution and 2 quick sheath with a terrible decoration slot. But I mean, they're an option. But I would say the main thing here is the layering potential of these. So that is how you unlock them. We're getting them a lot faster than like waiting for an event quest, like I imagined. Lastly, I recommend you visit the Windward Plains and go to the base camp. There's a kind of leader of the endemic team back here in the main tent. His name is Ferdinand, and he's going to have like a new update for you. He's going to ask you to find a bunch of fish from specific locations and in different numbers. If you're not sure what he's looking for, you've got the full list of 5, and then you can ask for some details on it. So say for list 1, he wants 10 fish of any kind that are glimmering gold and silver. The reward for this is specific new pendants. So let's take a look at the couple that I've unlocked. We have the common wood minnow. So yeah, this is a fishing bait. The most classic basic one that there is. And then I've got the emerald jitterbait. So if you, for some reason, really want those fishing lures on the end of your weapon, it's possible now through that new questline. But yeah, that's my quick overview of all the things you might want to know with the new update. The subtle stuff, the quality of life, anything useful that I found or could think of. If you guys have noticed anything else that would fit in this list that I didn't mention today, then please let us know in the comments. But I do hope this was useful. We'll be back with tons of different guides and information for Title Update 2 as we sink our teeth in, so look out for more. Until then, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.